Hi everyone, welcome to another first in the series Cozy Mystery Review. So today I'm going to be talking about Charlene O'Connor's Murder in Galway. So this is the first book in a new series called Home to Ireland. She has also another series called Irish Village Mysteries. And in this new series, it's actually somebody who's from the US. Tara Meehan is coming from the US back home to Ireland. She has, her mother has passed, and she's bringing the ashes of her mother to Galway, her home village, in order to spread her ashes and do some healing herself. What I really like about this concept is I think we don't see in cozies a lot. We don't see kind of a raw grief from a main character very often. And there's a few things that Tara has going on from her past that she's grieving and trying to heal from. And that comes up a few times. It's not first and foremost in the story, but it does come up a few times. And I think, for those of us who have gone through difficult times in our past, it makes her very relatable. So as she's in Ireland, she's not getting a really great welcome because she's trying to also find her uncle that lives there. She's never met him, trying to find him, talk to him about her mother. And he's not the most popular in the village. So she's not getting the greatest welcome being a Meehan. And unfortunately, when she goes looking for him, she does, as we all know in cozy, she finds a dead body. And it happens to be her uncle's biggest client, right? So she, of course, is helping to investigate. Uncle is nowhere to be found. The other thing that I really like about this particular situation is that she jumps in and runs her uncle's business in his absence. And again, I think that's not something that we see terribly often in our cozy main characters are often very resistant to kind of take on new things or to have that change happen. But that's not the case with her. She's in a place where she's ready for some change. And so she kind of jumps into that. And I really do appreciate that about this series. So those are some things that I do really like. The plot is a compelling plot. The pacing is very good. It's fast enough to feel like there's action and things are moving, but it's not so fast that it gets confusing or overwhelming or you have to go back and read pages and things like that. So the pacing is great. What I didn't like about this particular book is the second character, the new kind of love interest sidekick. That character isn't very well developed in the book. It's developed enough to where I do actually want to read the next one when it comes out. But that character, I think, could have been developed a little bit further. There's not a whole lot that we know about him by the end of the book. Additionally, the dialogue is a little uneven in the book. So sometimes it's very conversational, and sometimes the tone of the dialogue is very overly formal, using extremely formal words that I think somebody from the US would not be using in just kind of casual dialogue. So those are a couple of things that I didn't like about the book. Now, when I read books, I often, because I'm a busy mom and job and kids and all this, I'll often get the Kindle book and then get the Whisper Sync with audio so I can switch back and forth if I'm in the car, if I'm home, or wherever I am. So I also listened to, I read part of this via audiobook as well. And so one of the things I really appreciated about the audio version, very good quality. Narration is extremely clear. They did find somebody with an Irish accent, which I always appreciate. It makes me feel more like I'm in the book when I have that. The downside to the audio version of this is that the voice actor muddles accents a little bit. And so sometimes when switching over to the American accent, there's still that trace of Irish and kind of vice versa. So, not a deal breaker, but it is something that if I'm not listening very, very closely, it is something that I was like, wait, who's talking? Very occasionally. And then the pacing of the audio is a little slow. I felt like it was a different pacing than when you're actually reading the book. And so I actually listened to that audio on 1.5 speed, and then it was completely fine for me. So I also like to tell you if I guessed who did it. And I did actually guess about a quarter of the way through the book who did it. I guessed correctly. I should say about a quarter way through the book. However, I will say, when I guessed that and knowing that, I still wanted to read the rest of the book. The plot and the story and the main character and the setting description, the amazing setting description, were good enough to where I still wanted to keep reading and find out exactly how that was going to be revealed. So overall, I definitely, even though I guessed, I definitely wanted to finish the book. Now, here's who I recommend this book for, right? Because I never say whether I recommend it or don't recommend it. So here's who I recommend it for. Number one, if you are an Anglophile and you just love Ireland and Scotland and England, she does a really good job. I think especially if you get the audio version, there's a really good sense of setting. There's a really good sense, kind of world description in there. And so if you're somebody who loves those areas, this I think is a great read. I really appreciated the description of the Galway Bay, especially. If you're somewhere where it's very hot right now and you need something to feel cooler, this is a great one. Ireland always with the sweaters and the breeze and everything was really good. And if you're just wanting to travel right now, but you can't, right? So again, because of that wonderful sense of setting that O'Connor gives us, I would recommend it if you are in one of those categories. Here's the thing is I'd love to know from you all if you find in the first few chapters of the book, if you find a nod to Sherlock Holmes. I think there's a little Sherlock Holmes Easter egg in the first couple of chapters. So down in the comments, let me know if you agree that there's a Sherlock Holmes Easter egg buried within there, if there's a little nod to him. And if you do, write down what you think it is, because this is a debate that I'm having with a friend. She says there's not, I say there is. So go down in the comments and respond with whether you think that there is or not. And I'll see you next time for another mystery.